Now at 4, a heartbreaking story in northern Kentucky. A fire kills 5 people, including 3 children. We're live in Mason County with the latest.
Fantastic fall weather continues until we get into the weekend, and I'm tracking some rather big changes just ahead.
The woman at the center of the University of Louisville sex scandal breaks her silence. What she said today on national TV about her allegations against Coach Rick Pitino.
Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT News at 4.
Good afternoon. I'm Jennifer Palumbo. The gorgeous fall weather continues in the Bluegrass. You're looking at our sky cam on the campus of Morehead State University, where it's in the upper 60s right now. A beautiful afternoon. The big changes are on the way later this week. Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey has a first look at the forecast. Chris?
Yeah, until we get to those changes, Jennifer, they come in the form of a cold front by the weekend. Things continue to look A-OK across the entire area. You were showing the Morehead State cam. Looks very similar to the cam we have here at the station in terms of the overall weather. Can't find a cloud in the sky. Blue skies out there, and temperatures upper 60s to around 70 into much of the area. So that is indeed what we have been dealing with out there this afternoon. Right now at the station, humidity bone dry 36%, and those temperatures flirting with the 70-degree mark. A lot of upper 60s across all of central and eastern Kentucky as of right now. That blue sky with nothing showing up on Defender. When I come back in a few minutes, we will focus on a forecast that includes big changes as we get into that weekend, and especially as we go into Breeders' Cup week. As it stands now, Jennifer, things are going to try to get active. We'll detail that forecast when I come back in just a few.
Thanks, Chris. It's a big tragedy in a small northern Kentucky city. Firefighters are trying to figure out what caused an overnight fire that killed 5 people in Maysville. It broke out just after midnight in an apartment complex on West 2nd Street. The fire chief says a mother and 3 of her children were found dead inside one of the units, and a neighbor died at the hospital. WKYT Sam Smith is live in Maysville with the latest. He has our top story at 4. Sam?
Fire officials say the family of 3 and their elderly neighbor were killed in this fire. They say the fire started in the backside of this building. And if you look at the damage on the backside of the building, you can tell they were in 2 units. The family of 4 that died was in one, and the elderly neighbor was in the other. Fire officials say the fire started in the back porch of the elderly man's home. They say he had working smoke detectors. They say the family that died did not. A woman and her 3 kids were pronounced dead at the scene. The father and 2 other kids were able to escape without injuries. About 30 people are displaced because of the fire. The Red Cross is helping them out. None of them were injured.
People are generally pretty neighborly here, so absolutely there's going to be an emotional impact, not only to neighbors and friends, but to anybody in the community.
Chief Doyle says it's likely that all 3 of these buildings will need to be torn down. Live in Maysville, Sam Smith, WKYT.
Thank you, Sam. And this was Maysville's first fire to kill 5 people. We'll have more from Mason County live on WKYT News at 5. New developments today in the sex scandal involving the University of Louisville's men's basketball program, as the woman at the center of it all goes on national TV to share her story. Katina Powell gave her first interview today since the release of her book earlier this month, Breaking Cardinal Rules, Basketball and the Escort Queen. Powell told ESPN she has no proof Coach Rick Pitino knew a former staffer hired her and other dancers to strip and have sex with recruits and players. But Powell also says that with everything going on over 4 years, how could he not know? Pitino has denied knowing anything about Powell's allegations.
The recruit would pick out what girl he wanted. Andre would come to me, tell me what girl the recruit wanted, and I would tell the girl, and she would say her price. I would tell him. He would say, okay, give me the money. I pretty much would sometimes hand it to them, sometimes he'd give it to him, and that was just it. He would take them into another room, and her and the recruit would do what they did behind closed doors.
She's talking about Andre McGee, the former U of L basketball operations director. U of L and Pitino declined to comment to ESPN, but his son Richard told the network he was 100% certain his dad did not know what was going on. We'll have more on today's developments coming up at 5. Thousands of Taylor Swift fans will be in downtown Lexington tonight for her sold-out concert, and Rupp Arena is warning of possible ticket challenges. Fans are being told to be on the lookout for counterfeit and print-at-home tickets. Officials say people who bought their tickets on a secondary market such as Craigslist should arrive early tonight to make sure their tickets are valid. Only tickets bought at the ticket office or on Ticketmaster are guaranteed. The concert starts at 7:30. We'll have more on WKYT News at 6. And our reporters are working on a number of other stories for WKYT starting at 4:30. Sam Dick is in the newsroom with a look at some of the news in progress. Good afternoon, Sam.
Good afternoon, Jennifer. A man accused of killing 2 people avoids a trial with a guilty plea. Tony Kegley admitted to being responsible for a hit-and-run crash in Morgan County back in 2013. State police say he crashed into and killed Tony Ross and Elizabeth Thornsberry in November of 2013. Kegley did not give a statement in court today, only answering yes and no before then stating he is guilty to 2 counts of second-degree manslaughter, leaving the scene of an accident, and tampering with physical evidence. The father of one of the victims says the past 2 years have been unbearable, and that seeing the man responsible for his daughter's death take this plea agreement is difficult.
It's devastating. You know, you kill 2 people, and it's a slap on the wrist, basically. He still has his family. His family can still see him, touch him, hear him. All we do is we go to the cemetery where my daughter is buried at. We talk to her through memories now.
We'll have more from court ahead on WKYT News at 5 o'clock. The decline in coal is being blamed for another big job loss in southeastern Kentucky. CSX Railroad closing its mechanical shops in Corbin, cutting about 180 jobs. The company says the move comes because of reduced demand for equipment maintenance and inspections as a result of the decline in coal traffic throughout the region. Laid-off workers will receive 60 days of pay and benefits. The Corbin rail yard will remain open with about 100 CSX employees remaining on the job. We'll have more details on the closure ahead on WKYT News at 4:30. Georgetown police have a new home. The department cut the ribbon on their new police station this morning. They spent nearly a decade in a temporary building before moving into this new one. The community will benefit from the new station as well. You'll hear from the police chief ahead on WKYT News at 5:30. That's a look at some of the news in progress. Jennifer, back to you.
Thank you, Sam. Now to stories making headlines across the nation at 4. Federal officials are investigating a high-level security breach involving the personal emails of 2 top national security officials. Authorities are trying to locate a hacker who broke into the email accounts of CIA Director John Brennan and the Homeland Security Secretary. The hacker, who claims to be a teenager, bragged about the hack on Twitter and posted stolen personal information online. The White House called on Congress to pass cybersecurity legislation that was held up in the Senate. The Democratic presidential field is shrinking. Former Senator Jim Webb has dropped out of the race. Webb made the announcement today at the National Press Club in Washington. He says he'll now meet with people from across the political spectrum to consider a third-party run for president. The former Virginia senator's candidacy never really got off the ground, as he did little campaigning and polled poorly. Oscar Pistorius is officially under house arrest. The double amputee Olympian got out of a South African prison yesterday after serving less than a year behind bars. Pistorius was convicted last year of manslaughter in the killing of his girlfriend, Reva Steenkamp. We'll have more about his house arrest conditions on WKYT News at 4:30.